the city. Politics, progress, game boards, objects viewed like pawns till we change up our mindset. Value of the dollars at the center of this conflict, where lives only matter if they serve to make a profit. But if a midget sees further on the shoulders of the giant, then we should see further than the tyrant and build a future within the lions. The success is our science in the quest to go higher. It's the heart of the city.
Wake up, world. You're watching HeartCity TV. I'm your host, Malik Boyd. I hope that wherever you are in good spirits and all is truly well. I am so excited about this show today. It's going to be an amazing show. Turning the page. How do we effectively think, act, and move differently in this space? We have a new political dynamic. We have a new potentially economic dynamic. How do we pull all of that off? Our expert guests are going to talk about all that and more. But you know, we always start the show off in prayer. There's much to pray about. We have a country that is still healing from all that we've experienced over the last year, whether it be COVID or the political dynamic. I am excited to have an amazing minister and woman of God in Minister Beverly Davis. It is an absolute pleasure having you on HeartCity. Welcome home, Minister.
Thank you. Hello. I am indeed glad to be here with the HeartCity family on today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me on today.
Look at God. Won't he do it? You wait that blessing hand across the screen. This is going to be all right. So we've had an amazing conversation in the green room, but you know the issues.
Yes.
It's not just what we see on the major news outlets. It's not the stuff that makes the cover stories of the newspaper. It's what goes unreported. That you have been charged as one who is leading God's people, charged to feed God's people. That's what you see. That's what your heart has been called to cover. And so with all that you know and with all that you've experienced, I'm going to ask you to lead us into our 2-minute prayer for the city.
Amen. Father, in the name of Jesus, we kneel before the throne of grace on today, coming before you on the behalf of this world, behalf of your people, and those who are standing in need. Father, it's those who are sitting in their homes on this very day, worried. Hallelujah, Jesus. Worrying and frightening because of death, because of the coronavirus, because of the pandemic. But Father, you can do all things but fail. You said, seek me while you are yet to be found. Call on you while you are near. And Father, we are calling on your name today to heal this land, to heal our minds, bring a calmness to our spirit, Father. The psalmist said, I was once young, but now I'm old, and I never seen the righteous forsaken or seed his begging bread. Father, on today, we're coming as humbly as we know how, asking you, Father, in the name of Jesus, to touch the bodies of those who already has experienced the affliction. Father, don't let them see death. Hallelujah, Jesus. Their loved ones that's in the hospital beds, Father, that been there for a long time, Father, have no hope. Father, you be their hope on today. Go into the very hospital rooms, Father, where they lay, Father, in the name of Jesus, where there is confusion among the doctors. Who can we help live and who will go? But Father, you are life. You are the everlasting life. Father, you give it, and only you can take it. It is according to your time, Father. I ask that you continue to look over your people, Father. Look over your leaders in this world at this time as we continue to uplift your word, Father. In the name of Jesus, continue to be an encouragement to a dying nation, Father. Look over those sitting up in government, Father, who have to make these difficult decisions, Father, when there is difficulty and confusion among us, Father. You said you are not the author of confusion, Father, in the name of Jesus. But if we would turn, hallelujah, Jesus, if we would turn from our wicked ways and seek you, Father, that's what we we're here from the kingdom of heaven, Father, and we will have a healed land. In your name, Jesus, those who are sitting and waiting for an answer, Father, be that answer. Those who have run out of medication, run out of money, run out of food, run out of resources, don't have employment, Father, be the way. You said you are the way, the truth, and the light. No one comes to the Father except by you, Father, be the way. Help them to know that you are a Savior, that you are a Savior indeed. In your name, Jesus, amen. Hallelujah.
Look at God. Won't he do it?
Glory. Glory. Hallelujah.
You're about to change the whole premise.
Glory.
And I'm excited about it. That's prayer.
Glory.
Listen, Minister, I honor you and truly thank you for covering the listening audience in prayer. You took me back to my early days of church when the pew was hard. There were no there wasn't sit on the floor. There were no pew cushions. I mean, it was good old church with the church fan, and we prayed our way through some pretty interesting times. And so thank you again for covering us in prayer. Let's talk about what's happening on your side of the kingdom.
Well, Floyd, is a lot going on. Ministry wise, I work. I'm a part. First and foremost, I am with the House of God Church organization, Keith Dominion, here in Philadelphia, and I am not only a minister, but I help lead some young adult missionaries that they have entrusted me to work with, not only in the community, but I also help young adults outside of the organization in my local community. Okay. There's a lot of things that's going on. A lot of people that just don't understand some things, can't understand. Their faith has been tested. Their knowledge has been tested. A lot of things of uncertainty is going on. So what God is allowing me to do through my little old self, but you know, he a big God. Yeah. What he allows me to do, I'm on my knees praying. I attend services through our conferences that, you know, we no longer can attend church in the building, physical, but we have conference calls and other churches in the organization also have online services. So we're able to receive the word and to give word through those avenues of communication. Mm-hmm. And when I'm finding out that more people, hallelujah, that's in need, that we could not reach behind the church door, behind the floor, we are able to reach now, because now God has put us right in the middle of that need, right in the center part of that need. A lot of times people wouldn't even came to church.
True.
You know, they may not even know about the word like we had it, shouting and tearing it up to church with, but now he had removed that piece, and now he's saying go out into the world. Go out to the world, because see, he died for the world. He just didn't die for church folk. He didn't just die for the righteous. He died for the world. And some people don't even know him. So what he has put me and others that's above me and with me as just ambassadors for Christ, to tell up his goodness, right? To tell who he really is. Because people got all of these all these sayings going on. This is God. But let me tell you something. He's a God. When there's a need, he will save you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? He doesn't look at minister titles. He doesn't look at bishop. He look at the need of a person, because he's a loving God. Mm-hmm. He's a kind God. He's a giving God. See, we want to put all of these do's and don'ts on him. No, it's no limits what he's able to do and what he's willing to do. So all I am is being a voice, just like a brother in the wilderness. Brother John in the wilderness. I'm just being a voice in the wilderness for my Lord.
A little bit of locusts and a little bit of honey, and I go out and do my
that's all I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm honored and thankful that God has chosen you for such a time as this. Bold leadership is needed. It's not just a shift in 1600 Pennsylvania, but in the cornerstones of our communities, right on each corner where we can make our best impact and make a difference. You wrote a book. You're not just an inspirational speaker, a minister, or a mother. You're also an author. So let's talk about this book. We have 60 seconds. Let's break this book down really quickly, and more importantly, get the viewing audience how to purchase this book. Get them to the link.
Okay, so just a little bit on the book. This idea came to me over 2 years ago.
Okay.
For it to come to fruition is just phenomenal on its own. God is just awesome. Never knew I would be in this position. Never knew that it will be actually happening. You know, you have dreams, then you have realities, right? And he came to me one day at home and he said, Beverly, I want you to start writing a book. I said, writing a book, writing a book. I don't know nobody to write no book. I don't know. No. He said, pick up your phone and record.
Yeah.
And I began to record. But let me tell you, the place that I was in at that particular time is different from the place I am now. Because one thing I had to understand was operating in the will of God and what that mission was about versus doing a job for a title and money. These are totally different things. And the book is going to bring out every captive thought, every captive thought, everything that was purposed to level, to flatten that victorious being that God called me to be. He made us all victorious, wonderfully made. But see, it's these things that come and captivate our thoughts. Right? Through situations, through upbringings, whatever it may be. And sometimes our focus begin to go on the hurt and begin to go on the pain and not realizing that through these things, I'm going to quote what Brother Kirk Franklin said, these are the ingredients for necessary pain in order for us to grow. But see, we don't understand that. I didn't understand it. I let the emotional part sway, right? But I thank God for being a friend to me. Hallelujah. That let me know it wasn't because of these things you are. It is these things you are who you are.
So
we cannot take away. We want everything to be good and flowery beans to eat. That's not going to make us not for kingdom work, not to live in this earth. Those things is not going to make us. It's through the hard times. It's through the tough times.
Let's break down this book really quickly. This book is powerful. And I'm sure of that because I'm sure of how powerful you are at this moment. When God is using you, it's very clear that your purpose for the mission, but then there's some power that, quite frankly, not only are you giving me, but you're giving the broadcast audience. And I am thankful for that. I need the listening audience to get that link. In the next 10 seconds, tell them how to get to that link and purchase.
You can go to www.beverlyann.davis.com, and you will be able to not only pre-order but see everything that's going on with Beverly Ann Davis.
There you go. Minister, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I honor you. I pray God's continued blessings and increase on your life and the life of the ministry as well.
Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are now covered in prayer. That was some real prayer. Y'all church folk, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. This show, Turning the Page, I was going to go to the commercial break, but I think it's important that we continue in this fashion. I don't want to lose the energy. Shout out to everyone who has tuned in today. It is good to be back. COVID hit home for me and my family. It's one thing to talk about. It's one thing to report on it. It's another thing to actually see it firsthand. And so I want to thank everyone who has prayed for us, who has covered our family in prayer. It means a lot. And I am excited to be back with a comforted heart, knowing that he is definitely in the blessing business and we are still here. But I think it's so important to pay attention to those who have comorbidity issues, those who are dealing with the pre-existing challenges, understanding how COVID truly impacts our community. We had a conversation about COVID-19. We ran a special on that as it relates to the prison system. How do we take care of those who are incarcerated, making sure that they also aren't experiencing outbreaks? Everybody needs to be covered during this COVID time. And so let's make sure that we're talking about the vaccinations. Let's make sure that those who need it, get it. Let's also make sure that we're taking the right precautions. We ran a PSA over the last couple of months about it, but it's so important. Look, if you're going to be in close proximity and you haven't been tested, you have any kind of issues, there's no reason to not wear a mask. It's not hurting us. Let's do what we need to do to take care of our community. This next guest, I'm excited about her. Carmina O Davis. She is a juggernaut in the world of public relations, doing tremendous work in the community. She's known as the go-to woman for branding, business growth, and what she terms out of this world exposure. Her book now is out.
I'm on.
You are on. And I'm
sorry.
to welcome you home. Carmina, welcome back home to HeartCity.
Hi, thank you. Hey, Malik, how are you?
I am good. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as
well. Right? And you're already off to the races. There's a new book. There's new clients, new energy, new projects. Let's get right into it.
Yes,
what's the newest project in the world of Carmina?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, what's the newest project in the world of Carmina?
And the newest project in the world of Carmina is my book right now. And of course, I have clients that I work with, but right now the highlight is me coming from behind the curtains. You know, I'm so used to directing from behind the curtains. I'm finally coming to the forefront to promote my book, especially through COVID. We know that a lot of businesses were hit, especially small businesses. So I thought it was only right for me to do this book.
So let's talk about the book for those who will purchase it and add it to their library, which hopefully HeartCity audience, I'm telling you, grab a book right now and we'll tell you how to get to that book and purchase it. But what can they expect inside of this book from your perspective?
It's how to frame your business, especially a new one. And if you started a new business, you thought, you know, because COVID hit like early in the year, last year. So if you were going like new me, new business, and, you know, starting your goals, and you started this business and then no customers, this was the book basically tells you what it takes to start a business, the things that need to be in place, and how to basically entertain an audience online, especially with social media. In these times, social media is extremely important.
You know, it's interesting. A few weeks ago, we had a show. A young brother came on and he talked about the founders of Black Planet, of whom he was closely aligned, right? And for those, I'm not going to tell my age, but I do remember how we used to dial into the internet and to get on these chat rooms and have conversation. But he talked about how social media has kind of taken the world by storm. It used to be an option, something that was often misunderstood, and now it is almost a standard for those businesses who are exploring the space. Everyone was told last year, you know, take that hustle and turn it into a business. Now is the time. If you're at home, make it work. Fill out, you know, this paperwork and jump in. But most didn't know the process.
No, they
didn't. They heard the advice, but didn't understand the process. How important, especially for our broadcast audience, how important is it to get the formation of the business correct from the beginning, not just to jump into it?
It's like building a house. The foundation is everything. You have to have that foundation. So without your foundation, you have nothing. It's a weak surface. So you have to, you know, put in the work in building that foundation. And in the book, I talk about the KLT factor, the know, like, and trust. Like people need to get to know you. They need to get to like you, and they need to get to trust you. That's why these videos and content is so extremely important. You need to, you know, because people need to buy into who you are.
Indeed.
And see from what the Kardashians did. You know, they're using the KLT factor. We got to know them. We got to, some will say they love to hate them. And, you know, now, you know, they're trusting them and with their brands to like promote brands. These girls are making $1 million a post.
Now that's interesting because for many of us, especially some of the older generation that has seen or witnessed the evolution of social media, we were always very conservative when it came to social media. Don't post a lot. No need. If you don't know my family, I'm not putting it on social media, right? If I'm on I remember, you know, even my mother, she would say to me, look, if you're going out of town, don't post that you're going out of town because somebody's going to come in and rob you. You know,
Yeah.
But now we go out of town, we're posting, this is where I am. This is the drink I have. These are the people I've met. And we're giving I don't want to say a fly on the wall, but an intimate look into our world. You bring up a great point because there are many that have great business ideas, but have trepidations about getting on social media. Can you talk about how to massage those concerns?
I am that person.
Media is important, and that person too.
I am that person because, you know, again, I'm a publicist. I'm used to promoting my clients and coming up with strategies and things for them to be in the forefront. So I'm to be behind, and I'm like kind of shy. You know, I'm like funny and, you know, just great to be around behind the scenes. But when it came to doing interviews and things like this, I'm like clamming up and being nervous, but I'm trained to do this, but it's just not my thing. So someone like myself, you know, where, you know, in these times you have to pivot your business. So you have to talk more about what you have going on. And with doing so, you have to do more content, which this would, you know, your great show will be considered great content for my page and get great promotion for people to get to know me, to get to understand what it is my business is.
So in this book, you can get the ideas that will move you forward, make sure that you understand the new landscape. The new opportunities that exist, capitalize on it correctly, not just grab at the opportunity and have it slip through your hands because you're not prepared for the blessing, but you teach us how to weave a basket that will capture all the fruit from the tree. How does one get this book, Carmina? Because clearly we all need this book right now.
You do. You really do. To purchase the book, you can get it at www.3bgmarketingsolutions.com. Or you can get it from my IG page, Carmina Kisses, and just go in the bio and purchase the book. So I always say to people, when owning a business or starting a business, make sure you have a map. A map is marketing, advertising, and public relations. Just can't open a business and, you know, pray. Prayer is wonderful. You know, I grew up in a church. Indeed. Prayer is amazing. It's a it's a guiding tool. But when we pray to God to help, you know, God sends us information through people in order to implement these things into your business. So I think, especially for Black and Brown businesses, we have to get marketing budgets. You can't just open businesses any longer and just, you know, hope someone will come through the door, just your friends and family. What's the first thing we say when we start a business? Like, wow, I thought my friends and my family were going to sell me out. But no, that's just not how it goes sometimes. So you have to implement these tactics for people to know who you are, to gain exposure. You have to use the influencer marketing. That is very important. Like these popular people on social media, try to work with them. Don't be shy. Don't, you know, you have to be, you know, aggressive. I call myself a legal stalker, where, you know, you get in people's DM and you basically, you know, hey, I see you may like this product that I have. How can we work together? And, you know, sometimes people are going to charge you. I like when people charge me when I want to use their followers, especially if they have engagement, because guess what? I can control what they're going to post, when they're going to post. I'm not at their liberty. So, you know, these are all things I talk about in the book.
So, you know, we're going to have to bring you back because you bring up some points that I think we really need to talk about, especially the map, right? Understanding that P is so important. Most of us focus on the M and the A, the marketing, the science of that advertising, understanding your numbers, the reason, call to action. But then advertising, yes, we love to do that. It's easy to create a post, right? Make our product look really glossy. But if you don't have the public relations, if you're not telling the story, you don't have someone who's pitching you properly, you won't get the warmth in the whole totality of the campaign. The other piece that you brought up that's so important, faith without works is dead. You can't just pray over your business and expect people to walk in the door. Now, we want you and Pastor to pray over the building, but still got to have the services. You still have to bring the product to bear. You still have to engage the people. And so understand, folk, it's not just the faith, but it's the walk that occurs with it as well. Carmina knows all about it. It's in the book. Give the URL one last time so that they can jump on and order this today.
3bgmarketingsolutions.com. The book is it's on Amazon as well, but I always push for people to go on my site. Then there you can see all the things that my business offer. Or you can find me on IG, Instagram, that is Carmina, CARMENA, Kisses, KISSES, and the link is in my bio. Thank you so much, Malik. We go back, so thank you for having me.
Listen, this is always home for you. Always home. So we're excited about it. We'll make sure that we post a link on our social media page as well, and we'll bring you back.
Yeah, I would love to come back.
More in detail, all right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. So we've heard from Carmina. Look, the map is so important. Marketing, advertising, public relations. If you don't have the public relations portion of it, you're missing out on a huge part of telling your brand story. Again, you can have a great business. You can pray to God about it all day, and he can help you through all the business plans. That's great. And God can do all things. However, there's some things you need to do, like set up the business plan. Make sure that you're doing the requisite work to ensure that you have a model that can handle all the success that you are praying for. Because when your stuff goes viral, like our next guest, you better be prepared to handle all of it. And our next guest truly has done just that. I want you to see this amazing work of art. Painting Pretty, you know her very well, Wendy Freeman. She's been on the show when we were in the radio format. Now she's joining us on this format here, The Dream. You know, our young poet laureate, who has taken the world by storm with her poem. This work of art included now Vice President Senator Kamala Harris and former First Lady, as some will say, forever First Lady, Michelle Obama. But then you see Shirley Chisholm and Harriet Tubman. I mean, this work is phenomenal. And quite frankly, the world thinks so too. Well over 6,000 likes as of this moment. The comments under it were quite interesting as well. And you'll hear from Wendy about these comments. And so I'm excited to have Wendy Freeman on the show. Wendy! It is good to have you on. Welcome back home to Heart City.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're just now a genius at going viral. You just gonna pop it up, post it.
I wish I was a genius at going viral.
Look, and let it fly. It's so exciting to see this, especially to see artists that we know, that we love, and we appreciate, to see their work going viral in such a meaningful way. The hashtags. You're leading the hashtags for Senator Kamala Harris. Well, now Vice President Kamala Harris.
I did for about 2 days, and then it just got converted. I did.
Listen, I mean, but we're talking about millions of posts. And I want people to understand that. Millions of posts that have hashtag Vice President Kamala Harris, you led for 2 days.
Yeah.
Off of The Dream. Talk about the feeling of waking up to your phone going bananas over the comments, posts, likes, love, and a little bit of hate.
Yeah. So I was actually surprised, not surprised, but then surprised. I expected the positive feedback from us, from the Black community. But when you have a public profile, you risk yourself to be criticized by others, and so there were so many arguments under that picture from Trumpers or racist whites or whoever, and it was just like so much arguing. So my phone was going off nonstop for like 48 hours straight from like support this Black sister's racist under her post, and then you got white people like, oh, that looked like Michael, or like like kind of teasing, or like Kamala the hoe, like really being super critical. Like it was just crazy. I didn't realize how people are like negative and they're negative and just like a little hateful, but you don't know like really experience like somebody really like throwing jabs at something you created. But I wasn't offended. It kind of just like put that little battery up in my back, like, oh, you mad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, you know, it just kind of made me want to go in more.
It's more like Plies when he was like, "Oh, you big mad," you know,
Big
mad, right? And so social media is so interesting because folk have gone from Debbie Downers to like Debbie the Demon. You know, some of the posts you receive threats. I mean, the list goes on of people who DM'd you in a real crazy way. And honestly, you're only uplifting the great work of a young woman,
right?
And acknowledging that there are other women of color that supported her in that effort. Nothing more.
That's it. I didn't take any jabs at anybody. I kind of was like, I didn't even mention like African American. I just put Black. They're like, do you know the demographics? Do you know the culture? Kamala's not African American. And I was just like, okay. Like, it was just like, it was only to basically encourage and influence. You helped a lot with the idea, actually. Mm-hmm. But it just felt good to see my little girl be able to look at something I created to have hope. And it just displayed potential. So, you know, the media now is just like, a lot of rashness, like our culture is a little risky. So to be able to see Amanda Gorman on my picture or on a picture or just seeing her period during the inauguration is showing her that you can use your art to make room. Poetry is an art. It's like Maya Angelou. Her poetry led to other things. And then you have the Shirley Caesar, who was the first Black woman elected U.S. Congress that paid for Kamala and other things. So
Shirley Chisholm,
Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah.
So it was important to see that and to have your child, because sometimes it can be so one-sided. You don't see a lot of, like, if you look at the presidential history, it's just like, oh, it's the color. In Obama, you just got this one little dot at the bottom. So this was important for that to get out there to just at least allow people to see themselves in a different light versus what we normally see on TV, which is like the thug thing and
So I'm looking at the chat, and Sonia Sesam's great friend to the show, and actually who's on today. She typed in, "That painting is awesomeness" in all caps, and the world really feels that way. I mean, for all of the challenges that you saw in terms of language and posts and thoughts, it is truly a time for inspiration. It's a time for elevation, and you're playing a role in that for the culture. What's ahead? Because a little birdie told me you're like writing, you got some journals, you got all this stuff going on in the world of Wendy that we're all excited about and in full support of. So what can the fans of Wendy Freeman and Painting Pretty expect from you?
I am working on some books at the moment and illustrations. I'm actually working on illustration for somebody else's book at the moment, though. But I just basically really want to shine more light on positive feeding, like planting seeds of positivity. There's so much negativity in the world, and whether it's a picture, whether it's a book, my goal is to just plant seeds of positivity. So let it bloom versus getting thrown negative comments, feeding on that, but just having to be able to give information to the youth, adults, whatever, of all ages.
Your art has traveled the world, and I have no doubt that as we open the world back up and art galleries begin to operate, that your artwork will be prominently displayed across the country and across the world, quite frankly, for young at heart who are watching, saying, wow, I'm looking at Wendy's work. And for those who don't understand, you know, you are relatively new in the space. You know, you don't have the 30 years that some others may have had in the space, but God has blossomed your gift into this tremendous opportunity for you and others.
Yeah.
If there's any advice from your heart to the heart of the city that you would give around pushing towards your dream, being relentless and not giving up, what would it be?
Just not to be so consumed with comparison, because comparison kill your dream real fast. You'll do something and then see somebody else doing something and you'll get so discouraged. So I would just say focus on you and your gift and what you know that you can contribute to the world, not what somebody else can contribute to the world.
So Sonia Sessom says, I love it. And her.
Thank you.
Out for illustrations. There you go. That teamwork, supporting Black business. You better rock, Black girl. There you go. all hearts in the chat as well. She is really awesome. Annette Medley. I wonder who she is. I think we know her, right? I mean, look, you have support all over. I'm uber proud of that painting, and prayerfully Kamala gets to see it. I'm sure the vice president is going to see.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
This is just the beginning. Tell the broadcast audience how they can connect with you, because you're doing paintings, portraits, commission work, and the like. And so there's a whole nother business along with the dream. How do they connect with you and bring painting pretty to their door?
So you guys can connect with me via Instagram at painting_pretty, and on my site at www.paintingpretty.net. I
am so excited. We're going to make sure that we post your information on our social media pages. Again, congratulations to you. This is the first. This isn't even the first of your viral post, but this will be the first of the year that we've seen your work go viral, but not the last. Certainly. So we're excited about the gift that you have and what God is doing with you. And we'll make sure we continue to support as well.
Okay.
So we've heard from Wendy Freeman, an amazing artist. Please, by all means, follow her, painting_pretty at IG. Support our folk, especially when they're doing amazing stuff. Get behind them. And that support is not, look, the retweets are great. The likes are absolutely amazing. The comments are so special. But so is supporting with your dollars and cents. Make sure you purchase a print, purchase a custom portrait, whatever you can do to support Black businesses, support great Black businesses. This is what it's all about. More importantly, what we are all about. It's EKG time. And I am excited because I have two legends in the building who are joining us today. This brother here, I mean, Brother Lamont, it goes without saying, I literally brighten up. I don't care what's going on in my day. When I see this brother's face, I know all is well in the world for that moment, because he's fighting for our people at all times. Brother Lamont, it is a pleasure, man, having you back on Heart City. Welcome home.
Beloved brother, first and foremost, thank you for having me, man. And again, my prayers and condolences go out to you and your family.
Thank you.
I know you recently lost somebody, and it's just an honor to be on here. I mean, when I think about all the things that you do and all the sacrifices that you make on this show to make sure that information gets to our people, I'm just elated to be on here with you, a former Temple graduate, and we just go way back, man. And the love is genuine.
Yeah,
the love
is truly genuine.
I'm definitely praying for you. And I'm great. I'm thankful to be on the show today.
Hey, listen, I'm thankful to have you as a brother and as a friend. I love you, my brother. And for those who don't know, Pastor Sohn is in the building. Yes, the side ponytail is here.
Get into it.
Look at God. Won't he do it?
Yes,
That's
he
what
will.
I'm talking about. It is good to have you. And I got to say, listening audience, it's great to have true friends. It's great to have people who love you and care for you. I have made it, not by any of my doing, but by God's grace, to Sonia's daily affirmation text group, because she's texting me and giving me these customized prayers and affirmations on a daily basis. Even this morning, I saw the text. I got up. I tried to do a cartwheel, Sonia, but kind of like the way things are set up right now, it's not how it went down. But I thought about it. I thought about a hard cartwheel.
Did you? Okay.
Because you gave me some energy and some life. I love you, and I thank you
for
all that you're doing. Welcome home.
Yay! Thank you. It's good to be here.
It is good to have.
Yeah.
So look, the world is still going. I don't care what's in 1600 Pennsylvania as a new administration. Yes, everything's changing, titles, people are shifting, but there's still tons of work to do. Education is still wildly underfunded. There's still issues of police brutality in underserved communities. There's still a culture that says that the working class will forever continue to keep the rich richer. And while their dollars go poor and into a worse off category, Philadelphia right here is suffering with 38% deep poverty. And we're not the only city that's experiencing these things. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. And so the EKGs are going to be pretty exciting. Are you guys ready?
This is my favorite part.
Let's have it. Let's
Yes.
have it. Here we go. Here's the EKG.
This is the EKG, the part of the show where we place America front and center on the monitors of the American people. We will look for irregularities in the heartbeat, offer solutions on the issues we find in order to make America healthy once again. So fire up the machine. Let's start the EKG.
So the EKGs are brought to you by Deshuri CBD Products, a wholly minority-owned and operated company. Please support Black businesses, support great businesses. Visit them at mydeshuri, DASHURI.com. Our first story. This one here, I mean, this really blew my mind. You know, he's biting me.
Wow.
We're not talking about a dog.
Right.
We're talking about human beings who attacked a New York City woman, biting her face in a street attack. She said, I couldn't believe it. It was like an animal. That's the only way I can put it. Now, this New York woman, she felt like she was being attacked by animals after a group of men accosted her in Harlem, breaking her skin with the bite. Now, she has not been publicly identified. She's 31. She was also beaten, spit on, and robbed during the attack, which happened near a liquor store in the Manhattan neighborhood. Now, video shared by the police department says the men surrounded her outside the store and attacked her. She was bitten, spit on, and her $750 cell phone taken. Since the attack, the woman told NBC New York that her thoughts aren't normal thoughts anymore. I'm floored by that. Sonia, I'm gonna start with you, and then I'm gonna go to Brother Lamont, because we experienced a similar situation that I know Brother Lamont will talk about, and it's just a series of many cases by which he and others step up. But Sonia, I mean, when you look at a story like this, as a woman, I can't even begin to imagine the thoughts of that, where a group of men are not only attacking you, but proceeding to do things that you would expect that an animal would do. Not only how do you feel, but where do we go from here? How do we protect our women, our vulnerable population? Because quite frankly, a lot of these incidents, and this is a little bit extreme, but our women are being attacked more and more as the days go on. And so what is it that you, from your heart, want to say to men across the atmosphere and across into the community as a whole?
Thank you for letting me start first. Actually, I saw this before you presented it. I saw it on Instagram, and I was actually in tears for a myriad of reasons. Number one, where are the parents that have raised these young kids? Because it starts at home. Number two, I had an issue with the fact that nobody in Harlem, there was nobody but this young lady and those men on the street. Nobody interjected. Like, I understand that, our old school way of thinking was like, if it has nothing to do with you, kind of stay out of it. But she was being attacked. And I can imagine that her mental health, because we always, promote what mental health and awareness. She's going to be scared. Like, I'm scared to have my daughter walk by herself sometimes, right? Because of how she's built and all those things. And she's only, 14 years old. I'm scared to let my son go out because I'm raising a brown boy in a very, racist country. And now me as a woman, I have to worry about if I'm going to get jumped. Now, for me personally, I'm going to shoot you. So, excuse me. I don't know. Because we carry. I'm in Texas. I carried in Pennsylvania, and I also carried in Texas. So that would not have, worked out well for them. But for the women that aren't comfortable in carrying a weapon, I would say like carry a knife or something. But she's a woman against like 4 or 5 guys, and then biting her. It was just, I was disgusted. That's like my word for all of last year. Disgusted. And so my cry is for, I don't know. Our parents have to do better at home, because I feel like if the parents would have, had a little bit more to do with their upbringing, maybe they wouldn't have kind of went down that route. But right now, I just hope that justice is served, and I'm gonna be praying for her. I was in tears.
And so I want the listening audience to understand. So Sister Sonia has hands. So she's talking from a different position.
Yes.
Because if you're not about that life, don't go in. Don't grab a knife from the kitchen and put it in your purse, because you have to know how to use it. You have to understand distance, that 21-foot rule, and all these other things that go with that. It's not just what you see in the movies. Real life and adrenaline will change perspective real quick. Quick. And that fight or flight thing, many go towards flight before fight. But that's also an opportunity for you to learn. And it's a shame, to your point, Sonia, that we even have to think about making sure that our women are learning self-defense in a way that honestly they should be protected by a group of men as opposed to attack. Brother Lamont, listen, man, you and I both have experienced some scenarios that we'll never talk about publicly of protecting our women and vulnerable population. Even recently, you came to the aid of a sister here in Philadelphia without fanfare. It's just, this is what needed to be done, and we're going to stand with her. Talk about, from your perspective, my brother, the work that the male community is doing, because I want to also bring that out, because I think a lot of times, the conversation can shift really quickly. Where are the men, and why aren't they stepping up? And my God, but there are some men who are looking, and when they see Sister Sonia in challenge, they're going to go, I know she got hands, but I'm gonna make sure my hands are in it first. And she'll have the option to get involved, not have to be involved by necessity.
Well, Brother Malik, I'll say this. That's why it's so important to have manhood training classes. We have a lot of males permeating our city, but there are not a lot of men. And unfortunately, we don't understand. My teacher, Minister Farrakhan, taught us that men are maintainers of women. We're their protectors, we're their providers, and we want our women to be elevated and protected just like other women in the society. This thing really hit me hard, because there are people that's doing great things in the community. And when you see one episode of savagery that took place and there was no men around, and you biting a sister on her forehead, you biting a sister on her eye, and it hurts deep, because it shows you that we still have this ego. You shoot your shot at a woman. What civilized woman is attracted to a man that's hanging outside of a liquor store? So you offer to buy her the wine. She says no. And then you take it upon yourself to attack her, to spit on her, to beat on her. So it is very disheartening, because Minister Farrakhan taught us this, that there's no greater gift that God could give to a man but a woman. A woman is one that extends us into the future. And if you would beat a woman like that over her not responding to you about some wine, I'm going to be quite honest with you, Brother Malik. They better pray that the authorities get them. Because those of us that are really serious about this work, you will be food for the worms doing something like that. Because there's no excuse. That sets us back tremendously. We have all kind of enemies outside of our community. But then when we do those kind of things, then you hear people say, well, I understand we got enemies outside our community, but what about the community, the enemies in our community that's making this makes the work more difficult, Brother Malik?
Very much so. And it's a challenge to see that in 2021, I mean, we're still dealing with issues of gender disrespect in that way, right? Like, I mean, we already have COVID, we already have economic impact. We're still trying to get small businesses. 63% now of Black businesses will not return as a result of COVID and economic impact. And we have our sisters getting beat up on corners. It's this just should not be. And so you heard from Fighting Hands, Sister Sonia. I'm messing with you.
Don't do me.
Sonia said, look, it's not just about having hot hands. It's about respect and taking care of each other. And so as our women have been there for us, it's important for us to be there for them, and that they should never have to walk out of a store concerned for their safety when they see a group of men. In fact, they should feel safer. It's a show for a different day. Brother Lamont said, look, I mean, honestly, thank the Lord for authority, because we're glad that they get them first, because this should not be in this day and time where our sisters do not feel safe on the street. And that's so important. And that goes beyond the issues. You know, we talk about relationship issues between the genders and all that. That's separate of that. Life happens. You may not like somebody for a particular reason, whatever. But we should always want people safe. We should always want our community safe as a whole. So we're going to make sure we post that story. Please share it with those you love, and make sure, more importantly, that you're doing and involving yourself in opportunities to make sure that we have our community safer. This story here, look, I don't know how I feel about this one, but we're going to talk about it anyway. A black Capitol rioter is still in jail while his white cohorts are on house arrest. Now, Emmanuel Jackson, I don't know why you were there to begin with. That's a whole nother thing that we would talk about. But this DC black man that government prosecutors are saying repeatedly, here's the point now, repeatedly struck Capitol police officers with a metal baseball bat. He's going to remain in custody pending trial. He was among the rioters January 6th. Now, some of the other individuals that were with him are on house arrest or free on bail. Federal Magistrate Judge Michael Harvey called the charges against Jackson very serious, adding that Jackson apparently admitted that he's the person in videos and he was shown repeatedly striking the Capitol officer with a bat. Now, I'll be very honest, Brother Lamont, bruh, why were you there in the first place? That's number one. Two, why'd you have to go super aggressive and swing on Capitol Police with a metal bat? Because you're going to stand out in a crowd that doesn't really look like you, but you're going to get out on video. You got to show them how down you are. So you're going to get out there and you're going to do the most and swing on a Capitol Police officer and expect the same treatment. I don't even understand how that works, because we don't get the same treatment sometimes when we've done the lesser charge. You're doing more than and expect that you're going home. What do you think, bro?
Well, beloved brother, I wanted to uplift something that Reverend Al Sharpton always says, that all your skin folk ain't necessarily your kinfolk.
Come on, Doc.
And unfortunately, he looks like us on the outside, but unfortunately, he has another heart on the inside. He shouldn't have never been there. And you and I know that it's hard to get justice. And a lot of people, we've had a change of the guard, and we have a new president, and we have a new vice president. But one of the things that's at the root of this country is the ideology of white supremacy and white privilege. White privilege is a derivative of white supremacy. So when you see that, and then it came on Facebook the other day, and I had posted it, that Kylie Browder, who allegedly stole a book bag, spent 3 years in Rikers Island. I said allegedly. I didn't say that they had the information. They allegedly charged him about stealing the book bag. And here again, the white female young lady that took Nancy Pelosi's laptop and tried to sell it to Russia, she just got discharged and she's home with her mother. So there's a scale of injustice in this society, and it doesn't matter who the president is, he has a hell of a task, because you and I have been deprived of justice for over 460 years. And we see that when it's us You play judge, jury, and executioner on black men and women, but when it's one of your own, you can excuse them. They get the lesser sentence. So I would say to that, Brother Malik, that we should learn a valuable lesson that unfortunately we live in a country where we can't do what our open enemies do. We have to have a moral standard of conduct in which we conduct ourselves as civilized men and women. And when we go outside of that moral construct, then you can expect the consequences to be more severe on us than they will be on our counterparts.
Sonia, going outside of that construct, you can expect some work. Essentially, that's what my brother was saying. You can expect that work, right? And so when you choose to go above and beyond the show out, you're going to get a Showtime level response, and that's what happened. To Brother Lamont's point, look, she goes home after stealing federal property. Now, mind you, our previous president made it clear any destruction or theft of federal property should receive 10 years in prison. Don't go past go. Don't collect $200. Go straight to jail. So how is it that one can literally take papers off the desk inside of the Capitol, right where the speaker is? How is it that someone can trash a room where our senators and where they rest and congressmen reside? How could it be that panic buttons were removed and ripped out of offices in prep for this event? Well, I can see that folk walk out with podiums and laptops and they go home. Where are we? Where are we, Sonia? What in the world is going on?
I mean, we're all kind of sharing the same exact sentiment, and what brother said, like he's absolutely correct. We live in a country that is not for us. It was built on our backs, and everybody wants to be us. It's crazy. Everybody wants to be us. Everybody wants to date us. Everybody wants the Black experience, but we are not equal in this country. And it's disheartening. I use the word disgusted again because I was just like, why is he even there? That was the first question. The first question was like, dude, why are you there? And I guess he thought, hey, I'm with everybody else, but you don't look like everybody else, especially you're a Black man.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, right? He had a million strikes against him because they are afraid of you guys. They are afraid of our kings and our queens. They don't want us to unite. They don't want us to, propel, because when we finally get it and we finally start working together, we will be a force to be reckoned with. And so I was just disappointed that he was even there, but you're going to get punished. Like I felt like everybody been punished, that's a punishable offense. So I don't feel sorry for him. He shouldn't have been there, but we just got to do better. Please do better.
Listen, Emmanuel, bro, I've had my proverbial black card pulled because I wanted to speak the truth about an issue. I suspect that your black card will be pulled for doing some stupid stuff. We'll leave it at that.
Right.
So I tell you, Darnell Jackson, let's go to the comments. Darnell says, what you go down there for, huh? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Lesson learned, rioting with the MAGAs was a bad idea. Pastor Anderson says, look, he was miseducated like so many others, and now he's being mistreated like so many others.
I love that.
That's a post sermon and a Bible study. Because to your point, Brother Lamont, you're very clear. He had a different heart heart that was poured into, that was pumping blood, that did not reflect the issues of the day, the issues of the culture. And as a result, the skin, the body started reflecting that level of toxicity in his system. And then we have that kind of behavior in a system that was already welcoming our mistreatment. So no, the Black delegation stands in solidarity that we're not rallying for him to get out or any of those kind of things, but let this be more of a lesson, not just around the outcomes of messing with federal officers, which we already understand. We already know that's clear, but there is no pass for you, right? Even if you feel differently than others politically, joining with the extremists will not give you, black man, the result that you are looking for. In fact, you'll probably end up like this brother, misguided, and as Pastor Anderson said, mistreated. And so we're going to post that story. Please share that with Ray and Tyrone, who don't vote and always got something to say about the community, and they never add any of the stuff that Brother Lamont puts out, but they talk about they're going to change the system. Because honestly, as much as I joke about that, it is our young brothers in that space that is most likely to accept an extremist viewpoint and get swayed into moving into a space that's not going to bring them the benefit they're looking for. So by all means, get them to Pastor Sohn and to Brother Lamont. I'm going to go to our last EKG. This one is a positive one. So I'm excited about this. We don't always want to talk about doom and gloom here. Black Enterprise is reporting that 2 former college roommates turned business partners. They're making some big moves in their careers in real estate. Just this week, Atlanta-based entrepreneurs Devon Reeves and Jessica Myers celebrated a big career milestone with the acquisition of the Home 2 Suites by Hilton in El Reno, Oklahoma. Yes. And they did it through their millennial-driven, keyword, hotel ownership group. Now, this deal was done in partnership with Nassau Investments. It is valued at $8.3 million. This also makes Myers and Reeves the youngest black women to ever co-own a property under a major hotel chain. You talking about black excellence on display? There it is. There it is. And so this is the equivalent of two excellent entrepreneurs staying the course, because you don't just come up with an idea to own a hotel and go to the bank and pull it off, or go to any investment firm and pull it off. You have to have a track record. Half of the stuff that Brother Lamont is talking about on Facebook and social media about ways to get yourself ready, entrepreneurship, making sure that your stewardship reflects a track record, right? Pastor Sohn, you talk about this on your podcast, right? Like on Facebook. Here's how to get together, whether it be as a family, whether it be as a small business, whether it be as an entrepreneur. You're giving all of these landscapes. The reason why we talk about these things is because those small steps lead to big opportunities like this. Yes. Brother Lamont, 8.3 million these two sisters hauled home, and literally now a Hilton is under their control. What's your thoughts, my guy?
Oh man, when I read the article, man, it just is was very inspiring and empowering, and our women are just all that, man. You know, the creativity that they possess, the perseverance. They've always been out in the forefront for us, but to see 2 African American women come together, it's just a manifestation of what I've been taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan, that our unity will solve 95% of our problems. And if we are able to come together and understand that there's a difference between unity and uniformity. Uniformity means that we all gonna look the same.
I think we lost him. Oh man, and we lost him right.
I know. He was digging in. I was like, yes, you better give us a message.
Listen, AT&T and T-Mobile better get off him. We needed the information. I know he's going down. Yeah. All right, so hold on. Let's see if we can get our brother back in so that he can break
there you go.
There you go.
So
finish that thought, bro.
Yeah, I was saying that, you know, it's just a manifestation of there's a difference between unity and uniformity, and sometimes we misunderstand that uniformity is unity, and uniformity is not unity. Uniformity means that we all gonna look the same. We all gonna go to the same church, mosque, or synagogue. That's never gonna happen. Everybody's not gonna be Baptist, Pentecostal, Muslim, but you and I can be unified on some universal principles and come together to establish our own. So when you see 2 young ladies who were college roommates, who goes to show you that these are some high level thinking young ladies, because you and I both know the kind of things that go on college campuses, and for you to maintain a relationship like that you trust one another, and it just goes to show in closing that we have to eliminate this mistrust and distrust that we have for one another. We trust our enemies for over 400 plus years. We have to begin to build relationships. Like I always say, it ain't about religion, it's about building relationships.
Yeah.
And when you build solid relationships, you most certainly can build great businesses.
Ooh, when you build the great relationships, Sonia, you can build great business. Now, bars all day. You know, you didn't understand. My brother has bars. It ain't just 16. He can go 32 if need be, you know. But look, here's the thing, Sonia. It's not black girl magic. It's black woman magic, right?
Right.
That's doing some amazing things in this space. And it's not just black women magic. It's black magic, period. Because to Brother Lamont's point, when you get out of this disunified approach, when you understand that what happens to me happens to my brother, and only by a unified effort,
right,
we can really move forward. We do some great things like an $8.3 million acquisition and a hotel in our portfolio. How did this make you feel when you saw this article?
Well, you just said it wasn't about the black girl magic, but you know that's where I started, okay?
Bring it back. I'll bring it back.
I know it's about the whole, because it is about the whole, and he's absolutely correct. It's not about religion. It's not about any of that, right? It's about us unifying as a people, right? And stretching across the aisle. So everything you said, I am 100% in agreement with. But I got to shout out my black girl, because when I saw that, I was like, that is amazing, because now we start to control the narrative, right? And so all of us are not out here slanging and banging and all those things. You know, I'm what they call like a serial entrepreneur. I have my hands in a lot of pots, as do you, Sir Malik, right? You have your hands, and so now we are able essentially to now create opportunities of wealth for our community, right? So I was bigging those girls up. I wish I knew them so we could like do dinner or something like that. Maybe they need an accountant or something like that.
You know, the beautiful thing that we have in the HeartCity team is resourceful folk. So if Kendall Chase has anything to do with it, we'll probably have them on the show.
We need to get them on the show, Kendall. Yes, we need to get them on the show. But I'm uber proud of them, and I worked. I'm an accountant, right, by trade, and I have my own accounting firm. So when I used to work in corporate America, I worked for this young lady who was in real estate and investment. And to do deals like this, they have to have a lot of people who are trusting them, not just at their word, but as you talked about, their stewardship, about their record. They have a track record of success. They have a track record of excellence, because people are not just giving you $8 million or a couple $1 million to say, hey, you have a dream? Yeah, go ahead, take my money. So to the fact that they showed the world, right, that they were excellent, and that they did have excellent stewardship, and that their track record was one that somebody came out of their pocket and was like, hey, I want to support this, is amazing. And they're going to open up doors for like I'm hoping many people that look like them.
Oh, listen, it excited
control the narrative.
Across the country, others are equally as excited and celebrating this moment here for them as well. Please know that this is not just a unicorn. This is a blueprint. One that has been tried and true, whether you look at 4th Avenue, whether you look at Rosewood or Greenwood. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. I mean, if you want to go back to Mansa Musa, we can talk about that, the richest man to ever be here. I mean, our folk know how to do this, and we definitely know how to hold on to $1 and make it stretch, right? And so coming together, as you said, Pastor Son, and my brother Lamont, if we come together, unify on these projects, understand the greater good versus the momentary gain that happens when we're selfish amongst each other, we can do some amazing things. Looking at the Facebook feed, Darnell Jackson says, we can all get by if we unify. Method Man said that. Those sisters are amazing. We agree, brother. We agree. Method did lay it out. Lance Johnson says, congratulations, Brother Lamont and Brother Boyd, for all that you do for the community. Keep up the great work. Brother Lance, thank you. I'm going to put Pastor Son right in there, too, because our sisters are doing some amazing work as well. We honor you and thank you both for joining into the chat today. I gotta go. I got a guest next that we gotta talk about and talk with because she's doing some amazing things as well. But before I go, Pastor Sohn, give us a really quick 20 seconds. How do they connect with you? How do they get involved in your business and get involved with the vibe of the side ponytail?
I mean, get into it. That's on iTunes. You can get that single anytime you want. Get into the side ponytail. GIT. No, but seriously, hit me up at Mama Spitfire. MAMASPITFIYAH. And from there you can find everything. Or I am Sonia Sessoms. I have a book out. You know what I mean? I'm an author, a publisher.
Yeah.
I'm doing the most with the absolute least, but God, provides. Thank you.
Wow, doing the most with the absolute least.
It's working. It's working.
There you go. We're going to make sure that we post all that information on our social media pages. We are so proud of you. And thank you for all that you do in supporting us as well. We're going to make sure that we continue to return the favor. You are truly a light and a beacon for our community. My brother, Lamont, how does the world connect with you? I mean, you're doing teachings, lessons, community engagement, education. The list goes on. For those who are watching and going, this brother is not only dropping gems, but he's a blueprint that I can follow and connect to. How do they do just that?
Well, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and hopefully, I'm working on, trying to get me a book out as well.
There you go.
Just trying to get that out, and anybody that wants to get in contact with me, you need me to mentor any young men, speak to young men, because the trauma and the social emotional dysfunction that's going on in the streets of Philadelphia and in homes is destroying our community. So we want to make our community a safe and decent place to live for our women, our children, and our elderly, and that's my mission. I want to work with all those, regardless of religious persuasion. Our women should be honored and respected, and our elderly and our children should be able to play in the community without hearing gunshots. And so my motto is, Malik, like Kobe Bryant said, the greatest mistake that we make is thinking that we have a whole lot of time. And I don't know how much time I have, so I'm just going to keep working. You know what I mean? Because you never know when that time is going to come to an end. So I'm always working. And people say, you're doing this, you're doing that. I can rest when I'm dead and I'm gone. But while I'm here, I'm going to keep working.
That's right.
While I'm here, I'm going to keep working. Indeed. Listen, my brother, I honor you, man. I love you.
Love you.
And the great work that you're doing. Again, this is home for you. Whatever you need, however we can support, we're going to do exactly that. Thank you both for joining us today on the EKGs and adding tremendous value to the conversation.
God bless y'all.
God bless you. So we have heard from two amazing individuals. Please, by all means, support them and the great work that they're doing. We're posting it on our social media pages. And yes, we receive the emails and the texts all week long. We are going to continue with our Black History Fact. We cannot get away from our history. We never will. The reason why we have not done it in these particular shows is because we wanted to get this information to you. It's very important to make sure that we had significant dialogue with our guests. The song of the week will be here as well, and some exciting new segments that we are preparing for you. Our next guest, now you know her, Sharkika Miller McIntyre. We had her on, we talked about divas doing real estate, a business that she owns and operates. She's a licensed realtor and property manager, but she's doing some amazing stuff in the space, not just educating folk on on credit and budgets and savings and wealth through real estate. She's building an empire. That's the best way that I can say it. I am excited to have her back on to hear her wisdom, to talk about the latest projects so that you can get involved with it, and quite frankly, for us to learn how to support our folk as they are not only climbing the ladder, but defining the path for our community. Sharkika, it is an honor to have you back on HeartCity. Welcome home.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Happy New Year. I think I can still say that.
Happy New Year. Well, we're still there. Listen, we can celebrate the whole birthday for a month, right?
Yes.
Then truly we can get down with Happy New Year. And so, yes, thank you for that. And Happy New Year to you and yours as well. So there's so much to talk about. So let's build the blocks for those who are now just getting used to the greatness that lies in you and the family. So you weren't just a broker in charge and property manager. You've experienced that in the Charlotte area. You understand that space, but now you have a real estate and property management firm doing tremendous work. And I want people to understand, I mean, you studied for this 23 years of experience in financial services and customer service and management and financial consultant experience with an MBA as well. And so this isn't just a hustle. This is truly a career path for you that you've made the most of. And we're here now with Divas Doing Real Estate. Very, very quickly, talk about Divas Doing Real Estate and what you have been able to accomplish through this organization.
Awesome. So as you stated, I am a real estate broker, owner, licensed in North Carolina and South Carolina. And what I found in my experience managing property, helping investors, helping people buy and sell, is that there is a huge disparity amongst home ownership. And I didn't know how big that was until about 5 years ago when I began to really study numbers and to be a part of the National Association of National Association of Real Estate Brokers, which a lot of people don't know NAREB. They know the National Association of Realtors, but NAREB is something new. And once I joined that organization, I began to really understand the true gap of home ownership amongst African Americans and our counterparts. And that bothered me. And as I began to research that number and draw on my own experience on the why that happens to be, I found that resources, tools, education, and accountability within our own community was driving that gap. And so for those people that don't know what that gap looks like, African Americans own roughly between 42 and 46% of home, or have home ownership of that number, depending on what statistics you look at, compared to 74 to about 76 for our counterparts of Caucasians and Asians. In fact, we're almost on fourth level if you look at that and compare our Hispanic individuals as well in that. And so for me, that's huge. You know, in 2021, that's it's major. Ridiculous. I hate to say it that way, but it's almost ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do what I could do, my small part. And so I created Divas Doing Real Estate, really to empower, educate, and inspire women of color, particularly to go after home ownership, whether that's coupled with, you know, a family member, whether they're single, whether they're young, whether they're old, whether they're the first time, or whether they want to create wealth through real estate by continuing to purchase. But I did that so that I would have a space where I could have real conversations about real things that we face that keep us from moving forward with our real estate dreams and goals as it relates to home ownership. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, your faith, believing that, you know, home ownership is something possible for you. It has to do with your family dynamics. Have you ever seen this before? Has someone else owned in your family? Do your family members support you in that decision? What's your dynamics within your own household as far as finances are concerned? Of course, your finances are huge. Your stability as far as your income, your credit, and then just the ability to create a space for individuals where we can just have that real talk and get rid of the hurdles that we can handle. We all know that there's some systemic issues that go on, as your guest was just talking about. I can't change all of that, but I can definitely help individuals remove the doubt and fears of home ownership and build a good financial foundation in order to move forward. So that's an overview. That was a lot. That's an overview. No,
it's not. It's really important, and I think you bring up and you touched on this multiple times, and I'm glad because this is exactly where I want to go. I remember when we had Bruce Marks, the CEO of NACA, on. Yes. I remember flying out to NACA to Vegas and to Atlanta with them and other places just to see, because I wanted to make sure that it was real, that the program was real. And indeed it is. I mean, thousands have gone through this program.
I am a product of NACA. So
look at God, won't he do it? See, it's real. And so when we talked about, and I'm broadcast audience, remember this years ago when we talked about this on the radio, no money down, no PMI, you can draw down on the mortgage and percentage to get it down to as low as 0.5%. That's free money when you talk about a mortgage, right? And there was no credit check. They just wanted to see that you were prepared to handle this loan that was going to go on your head. You sat down with senior underwriters and counselors, which for those who have gone through the process, you know, you never get a chance to sit down with a senior underwriter and tell your story. You just don't. It doesn't happen here. They look at you on paper and make an assessment. Nonetheless, there's $13 billion that went through the NACA program is continuing. That number is going down, folks.
Correct.
So if you haven't gone through that process, please make sure you join NACA. Tell them we sent you. They will be excited to hear that. But to your point, there's a fear with us in ownership. We watched the last housing crisis, the dock farms, and some of those things that occurred, and that just added to more trepidation of home ownership. Why are we so afraid to join the home ownership circle, or is it really solely all on us? Were there other factors that led to this moment?
I believe a lot of it is on us. I think a lot of it has been created in our head. And I say that, and I can easily say that because I'm in the property management space. So I see the hustle. I see what people do to ensure that they have a roof over their head. And that does not change. You're not going to do less as a homeowner than you would if you were a tenant. So I think a lot of it, again, is having that mirror, having someone in your family that has owned, and you be able to say, wow, they've owned for 10 years. They've owned for 20. This is possible. And so I think a lot of it has to do with the responsibilities of taking it on, and also the fear of disappointment. We sometimes put it in our mind that we can't do something, not realizing that it's right there, and all we have to do is take a step towards it, and that's where faith comes in. And so I think a lot of times people choose not to move forward with their home ownership goals because they're scared of the no. They're scared to face whatever it is that might be their challenge. Because when you get that information, you know, if you make that first phone call to someone and they say, hey, you can own, you just have to do X or X and X and X. You have to face that. You have to say to yourself, wow, I have to work on my credit, or I have to pay this debt off. I have to deal with this thing from 10 years ago. And so I think a lot of that, again, is just in our head and not really having that mirror. And let's just be honest, we don't have conversations about money the way we should have conversations about money in our community, in our household. You know, we're not saying to our kids, this is our mortgage amount. We can't go to Disney World because mommy and daddy have to take care of this mortgage first, but we can go to the park. Let's start with the park, or we're saving together. And so I think a lot of that has to deal with why people are fearful. And of course, you know, we hear all these bad stories. We need to see stories about people like myself that have owned since I was 25, have been investing since I was 28. We need to see stories like the young women that have just bought the hotel. We know stories about Pam Courtney Brown, who has a 51 unit property complex in Arkansas. We need to see that so that it becomes so normal that it's uncommon for you not to own it, that you kind of bring that together. So that's just my thought on it.
So it's interesting because as you were thinking, my mind went to, you know, excellence is not an exception. It's every day. It's there. It's a lifestyle. It's a thought process that has to happen on a consistent basis. And I'm not picking on anything. So this isn't Sharkika. So if y'all get mad at me, it's not her. Don't email her. Email me. Look, she's pointing at me too. Like, no, him. Because here's the thing. You can't say you're willing to put, you know, thousands of dollars into joining a multi-level marketing program, but you're not willing to join a true wealth building scenario like home ownership. I'm just putting it out there. And so if you can take advantage of COVID and go travel because you're like, oh, I'm going to Maui now that the prices are low, but you can't put it down on making sure that your credit is right so that you can draw down on a mortgage and get a good percentage rate. To Sharkika's point, it's about mindset. and we've got to shift, right? And we have enough examples out there. I honor the LeBrons and those who are celebrities who are doing some amazing things, but we have everyday heroes amongst us who are doing some amazing things as well and creating those blueprints. You are one who is creating the blueprint. The legacy lives long through you and your husband, Gary. So you have some children that are doing some phenomenal stuff. Now, Madison, we already had on the show. You know, this is a young woman who's already written 2 books, 2 amazing books that everyone needs in their library, especially if you have some young folk in the space. But you also have Cody Miller McIntyre, who is a professional ball player in Russia. And here's the thing, guys, because we talk about those who are in the NBA with their own, you know, with shoes. And we talked about LeVar and, you know, the baller brand and all these kind of things. We talked about Kobe and his deal. We talked about Kyrie Irving and his deal, Steph Curry and Joel Embiid with their deals. But you don't have to be in the NBA to understand how to build a brand,
right,
and how to become a brand. Cody is in Russia and owns his own clothing and sneaker line. I know you're a proud mama. Talk about this moment for Cody and for the family as well, seeing how legacy and wealth is being built in the family and this expertise, this business mindset that is clearly permeating through the future generations of the McIntyre family.
Well, I certainly have to, you know, go back to what I said about models, because our children have grown up with having grandparents, great-grandparents that have been entrepreneurs. They also had some 9-to-5s along the way as well. And so it definitely is within them. But all of the children have their own things. So we have 4 kids, and all of them actually have their own something or another. Madison, of course, loves books. And we have Mackenzie, who loves doing hair. We have Mason, who is 9, and she's trying to figure out whether she wants to do a gym project or she wants to make lip gloss.
Yeah.
And so, but our son, who actually is now in in Serbia.
Okay.
He's left Russia and he's in Serbia. But yes, he does have a brand, clothing brand, an inspirational brand. He did come out with his own 2 new shoes this summer, working on his 3rd. And you're right, it's every day. And that's one of the things that I certainly promote, is that, you know, they're extraordinary people doing extraordinary things every day right around us. And generally it does start at home. And so our goal, my husband and I, is really just to allow the kids to have their dream and then be the resource for them to fulfill it. Cody happens to, you know, he's 26 and he is single and no children. And so he has time to really invest and build his brand, CMM Patience. But we instilled in him that entrepreneurship is important. So, you know, if there's something out there for you to do, you can't rely on just one thing. So even being an athlete is wonderful. It's exciting. It's great. But you definitely have to have several streams of income.
Indeed.
But his brand is doing very, very well internationally and here in the States. And we're super proud of him. Very proud.
So we're going to need the URL before this interview closes, because I got to get a pair to support my brother and the great work that he's doing, because I think it's important. It's not just, and the Master P's are great, and the Fufu's are great, and Sean Johns are great. But I want people to also understand there's also levels to it too. There's one thing when you have a boutique line. It's another thing when you have a label, which means another house is producing and you're just slapping a label on. And then there's another thing when you actually own it all.
Yes.
That's a difference. We're leveling up here. And so understand, while these individuals may not be on your Instagram, they are folk you need to know, broadcast audience, because we need to support those who are owning the whole ship, and they're looking at the supply chain and saying, how much of it can I control for my future? Entrepreneurship is clearly in the family. If there are words that you could give from your heart to the heart of the city around entrepreneurship, inspiring those who are watching right now to move on that dream that God is poking them with daily, what would it be?
I would say to draw from certainly our ancestors, and you spoke about it just a few minutes ago. This isn't new. Entrepreneurship in our community isn't new. You know, whether or not we think so or not, and we haven't, you know, turned the pages of history enough to understand that, but it's not new. So if you're someone that is looking for the opportunity, not even looking for, if you know in your heart that there is something that God has given you, just go for it. Like, I hate to use Nikes, just do it, but it is that simple. You have to just take the step, have faith, know that whatever's been placed in your heart, it's been there for a reason. And I will say to you, I started with a boutique. That was my first entrepreneur. It did not last. Trust me. However, had I not started that and it not giving me a taste of entrepreneurship and just learning a little bit, I would have never had the courage to get into real estate and maintain and move forward. So even if it isn't the perfect fit the first time, the fact that you've done it, the fact that you've taken the step and that you've executed, God will show you the way. You just work about it and have faith. But we all know what that feeling is inside of us. That speaks to us, that continues to come up. And so the number one thing is having faith. The second thing is taking action. I tell my divas when we're talking about it that divas dream bigger, and I believe dudes do as well. But they also act according to that dream. So not only do you dream, but you also have to take the action. And then once you start taking action, it seems like things will just kind of fall into place. And people don't believe that, but I've seen it. I see how each step, something just kind of opens up. And when it closes, whatever door closes, it seems like if you just turn, it's just another way. So if you learn to pivot, like we had to do in 2020, when you pivot, there's something waiting on you for the other side. So that's what I would say to any person out there that has that entrepreneurial spirit, that thinks that there's something inside of them. And then also I'll tell you, don't leave that 9 to 5 until you're ready. You ain't got to jump out there yet. You don't have to do it because somebody on Instagram is doing it or because someone on Facebook is doing it big. You do it at the level you need to do it in order for you to make the transition when it's right for you. And God will show you that time. And so that's what I would leave for anyone, or the encouragement I would give anyone that's looking to get into the entrepreneurial field.
Take the time, get it right, move when the feeling is right, when God has purposed it on your heart, not just because the gram is doing it and everybody else is making those moves. But understand, taking that first step is how you see the rest of the stairs.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes you got to work through the fog to see where the rest of the solid ground is. Those are important lessons, not just for business, but for life. One of the things that I think is so important for those who are watching to understand, Shakika, you talked about the boutique not working. Many of us don't understand. Russell Simmons had hundreds of businesses before he got to the Def Jam empire. And even despite that, there are things that you start and it doesn't work. It doesn't move. But I want us to get out of the mindset of saying we failed forward. There's no such thing, because you didn't fail if you went forward. The failure is to understand or not understand what happened and what occurred and what you can do differently. And so you fell forward. Right. In that boutique process. And so as you got back up or repositioned, you knew what to add to it. And to your point, going into real estate, that became really easy because I already jumped off the rock now. Right. I already know what's in the water. So now I can just change how I dive.
Correct.
And what location I can hit the water. I'm excited about you. Before I go, I want to do a quick quiz with you. We do this at HeartCity sometime. Really quickly, what we do, I'll throw out a word and I want you to give me one word back that comes to mind when you hear the word I give you. Okay?
Okay.
Passion.
Purpose.
Okay. Purpose.
Oh, God.
Life.
Love.
Perseverance.
Strength.
Heart.
Tenacity.
Gifting.
Oh, love came back up for me when you said that.
Love.
Yes.
Love's hitting twice. Oh, there you go. Last one. Mission.
Mission. Mission. Purpose comes back up.
So purpose and love jumped up for you.
Love jumped up.
Those are the root pillars. Those are the root pillars of the empire that Miss McIntyre is creating. Listen, I'm honored that you spent time with us today. I know you're busy running the empire, but I thank you for the moments that you shared with us. This is home for you. and the family. So in this year, as things are progressing and territories being enlarged, feel free to come back home and share with us what's happening. For those who are watching going, I'm a diva and I want to get into real estate.
Yes.
How do they connect with you?
If you are a diva and you want to get into real estate, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm new to Instagram. I tell everybody I'm seasoned a little bit, so work with me. But I love the platform. I'm also on Facebook, which is my specialty. I think of my special place. So I'm on Facebook, both at Divas Doing Real Estate. And you can also go to divasdoingrealestate.com as well to see about my new classes that we're starting, my master classes, my ongoing 90-day buyer readiness program that will be starting in February, and also to schedule a dream session with me. I'm an accountability partner for my divas, and so I like to hear the dreams, and I like to co-sign on those dreams, and I like to help them create their designer pathways to those dreams. So please connect with me with any of those methods.
We're going to make sure that we post all that information on our Facebook page. Please give our love and regards to the family.
I will. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Have a great one.
Thank you. You too. So we have heard from Shakika McIntyre. Please make sure you join up. If you are a diva thinking about real estate, you have some ideas that you want to move forward with in wealth creation. It's experts like Shakika and her team that can guide you through the space. We can no longer use the excuse that we don't have others that look like us in these spaces. We do. We have tremendous amounts of support, tremendous amounts of leads, tremendous amount of leaders who are willing to share their experience in the journey, help you avoid the pitfall, and make your money move more efficiently for you. Here's the thing. They can print more money. There's red and blue fibers in there. That's a debt instrument. That's a story for another day. You understand the 4 hierarchies of money at a different point in time. But the one thing you cannot get back is time. And so don't waste any of the time that God has given you. We don't know what 2021 will bring. And so those ideas that you are being, I don't want to say tormented with, but the ones that are keeping you up at night, the ones that are keeping that notepad next to your bed, the things that are in your heart that you think about as you're driving, and you can't get it out of your mind when you have quiet space. Let's begin to formalize those things into real action plans. There are experts. We have over 4 years of shows of experts, almost 4 to 6 individuals every show for 4 years, who are from all walks of life, who can guide you through this space. And we will make sure, even if you email us and say, look, this is something I'm looking forward to, something I want to do, but I need a little assistance. Do you guys recommend someone? That's something that we are prepared to do, because excellence is every day. And we're going to make sure that your excellence shines through. This next brother, an expert in his own right. He's the CEO of Family Wealth Group. I'm excited about it, and Family Inc. as well. Now, corporate and community. He's bringing the two together. He is a financial systems architect, a wealth strategist, a financial educator, and he's also the author of a life-changing book, Take Back Your Wealth, Moving from Lack to Abundance. I'm all about that life. Brother Archer, welcome home to Heart City. It is an honor to have you with us today.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Malik, for having me on the air. It's a pleasure.
No, listen, my brother, you're doing some amazing things. I'm going to get into the book because I love the title. I think it's so appropriate for the times that we're in right now. But let's start at Family Wealth Inc. and Family Wealth Group. Talk about these two amazing organizations, the missions, and what you've been able to accomplish in the footprint.
Yes, I appreciate that. So, yeah, Family Wealth Inc. I mean, we formed it in April of 2018, and our slogan is Strategies for Financial Success. And we designed it because we realized that everything really starts, from the family. If we're talking about building a community, then we have to start from the root, which is the family. And so thus the name was formed as a result of that. And we understood that we needed to create conversations in the family around finance and around, business development, business growth. scalability and for longevity purposes. And so basically it was derived from my early venture of owning everything. And of course, my mission from the very beginning and still is changing mindsets. I heard you mention that in a previous show, and building building assets, building businesses and assets, and then finally leaving worthwhile legacy. So that still is basically the underlying purpose of everything that we do. And then Family Wealth Group, we formed that April of 2020, and it's our financial services division that carry a lot of the products and services like insurance and credit restoration, debt elimination tools, trust and wills and things of that sort as well.
So, one of the things that I love about the programs, because you've created some amazing programs and initiatives through your group. There's the Wealth Unlimited Events series. You have the JET, which is a lead income generation program, which is so crucial when we talk about small business and how to develop leads, especially those that are sales driven. In B2B or B2C heavy lanes. The REAP curriculum, which is something that I'm sure is going to be valuable to the educational space and our young folk. You have a speakers bureau, because if you can't tell your story, Lord knows you're not going to be able to sell the product or the service as well. So understanding that elevator speech. Then you have WOW, which is the education and training program. But this recent program, I want to talk more about that. The Fit Club.
Come on now.
You heard of Fight Club, right? Now, the first rule of Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club. It doesn't exist. No, that's not Fit Club. We talk about great programs like Fit Club, where we have accountability, year-round community of financial fitness, where you have education, coaching, and training, and then you're tracking the results. I think that's so crucial, because a lot of programs, they're going to give you the book, go through it. I'll give you a couple of video lectures. If you get it, great. If you don't, I got your $399, your $599, your $999, whatever, and I'm off to the races. You're saying, no, I'm going to stick and stay with you, because I need to get this stuff and then see it impacting your life. Talk about Fit Club and why every person who's watching right now needs to get in this program.
Thanks a lot, Malik. Listen, it's time out for playing games. The Bible says, when I was a child, I thought I was a child, but when I became an adult, I put away child things. Look, it's time out for just quoting scripture. We have to live this thing, right? And so from the very beginning, it's been about moving people towards a group vision. The Bible says, without a vision, the people perish, right? So listen, we got to be super clear in terms of, okay, if we want to educate you, if we want to coach you and train you, well, where are we taking you to, right? And so it's very clear that we're taking the people towards what we call 5-star success. It's something that is measurable, trackable, and achievable, all right? And so what we're talking about is, first of all, passive income of $24,000 or more, right? Master 24, then 48, then 96,000. The name of the game is replace earned income. Do you agree with that?
I agree, brother.
All right, number one. Number two is 700 plus credit scores. Now, we don't use credit for debt. We use it for leverage, all right? Celebrity perks, right? Come on, cashback rewards, and we use it for a greater return on investment. We don't use credit for debt. I have to repeat that. Do you agree with that?
Listen, hands down, brother.
All right, number three, listen, we have to acquire and own real estate. See, we can't stop at just acquiring the real estate, buying the real estate. We have to own it free and clear. So number four is, watch this, eliminating all debt in 10 years or less. Mortgages, car notes, credit cards, student loans. Everything has to go like a clearance sale. What do you think, sir?
Come on, Doc.
All right.
I'm with your heart and soul on that.
All right. And then lastly, listen, equity and assets of $200,000 or more. Okay. With $1 million being the lifetime goal. And so equity, what's that? Equity in cash value insurance, equity in real estate, equity in businesses, equity in stocks and bonds, and so on. Do you follow?
I follow you 100%.
So
and to your point, all of that comes together. And I talk to my OGs, and I love my brothers, those who have gone before me, they're seasoned, they get it. And we talk about, we want to leave the family with a trust.
Yeah.
That has some real assets to it.
That's right.
Where you can put a crest on the letterhead and know that this is for the family, not just for now, but for time to come, because we've set a foundation of success. That sounds like everything that Fit Club is all about.
It is. And so we are basically teaching in 90-day increments. Of course, we've heard the saying that it takes 90 days to form a habit, right? Mm-hmm. And so the first 90 days is around credit restoration, credit building, okay? The second 90 days is around debt elimination. Watch this, rapid debt elimination. We're not talking about playing with this thing. We have to attack debt because it's in the way of wealth, right? Yeah. And so that's the second. The third is building more saving and wealth building, all right? And then the fourth is creating that passive income. So as you can see, that's 4 of the 5 right there. Come on now.
There you go, Doc.
So we done broke this thing down. We have some powerful gentlemen, and we were told by some of the women, like, well, you know, we love the idea of the project, but where the women at? Where the women at? Right. I said, well, this first year, I said, you know, these men were accessible to me. I said, next year, perhaps I'll have all women, all powerhouse women. I said, hey, you know, there's no respect of persons.
Agree. And listen, I mean, all right, I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but y'all have y'all programs. Now the brothers got to have our stuff, right? And Rod set up something for us so that we can get it right. Come on, on Instagram saying these brothers ain't got no credit. These brothers don't own nothing. Well, Rodney's trying to change all of that. Let us handle the business. Let us handle our business now.
Man, these women are running circles around us, man. They start these businesses, man. They got 800+ scores. They got real estate, you know.
Oh yeah.
Come on, we know, as men, we supposed to be leading the pack, and so at least showing up at the table with something.
You got to bring at least, if you're not gonna bring the chicken, bring the greens or bring the mac and cheese, something. But somebody got to help make a meal now.
That's all we're talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so I'm excited about Fit Club. I think and yes, you have a breadth of services that I think are so crucial to anyone, and so I'm not trying to single out anyone, but broadcast audience, for me personally, Fit Club hit home for me because I think that accountability portion is so important. Having someone walk with you through that process, help you understand what your roadmap should be, what the pitfalls may be in the space. And the other piece, and y'all know this well, because I've been there. I'm putting my hand up first, okay? When we get to the point where we erase all the credit and get to that platinum card, and then you use it to floss as opposed to grow.
Come on, man.
That trip to the Dominican looked real good, so you just swiped that card, and it was great because you had all these perks on this really cool card.
Right.
But because you couldn't pay for it because you added more debt onto it, and then you started flipping other stuff because you just thought I could move things around. This ain't a shell game. You got to get rid of it. Rodney said, take it off the table. Don't just shift it around. And so if you've been anywhere that I've been, you just use me as an example. If you want to be the opposite of what I just talked about, that's what this program is about. And so talk to them about how to get engaged in this program. There are folk listening right now. I know if I check my text messages, I got at least 3 brothers going, yeah, Rod was right. You know what I mean? Let's pass me Rod's number. So y'all ain't got to do all this, the text messages behind the scenes. Rod, how do they get in touch with you and connect with these great programs?
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, listen, first of all, everyone can go to www.familywealthfitclub.com. And so we have our video there, and we have, you scroll down the page, we have an intake form. And again, we right out the gate, we want to know where you at, and where you want to go. And so, we're going to focus on those things regardless of our concentrations in terms of the 90 days. If a person feels like they're already good with the credit, then we're going to jump right in, with the debt elimination. We're going to jump right in with, saving more, wealth building, whatever the case may be. But www.familywealthfitclub.com is where everyone starts, right? And then fill out that intake form there. and that's going to take you to the second page. It's going to talk about basically the options in terms of your participation in the program, and then we're going to have wealth strategists on the other side that's going to literally track your results, that are going to literally be, you know, a guide and lay out a financial plan of attack, you know, throughout the year. And then we have, like I said, great speakers and coaches that are going to be sharing even more information in niche markets and things like that. So nobody has an excuse to not succeed. You hear what I'm saying? I mean, we want results, bottom line.
Yeah. So, broadcast audience, and this is just me talking, it's not y'all talking, because I know y'all don't do this, but don't get into a program like this. Don't see an opportunity like this and say, well, you know, this costs too much. Okay. Because if you can go Del Frisco's, and if you can go to some of these high-end places, and if you can go overseas and ball out, understand investing in yourself to have long-time gain, long-time wealth, a foundation that will protect you for time to come. It's worth the investment. Okay, because many times we get into, especially financial programs, and we go, wait a minute, why can't it be $9.99 a month, Rodney? Like, you know, why can't you just send me the ebook and no.
Yeah.
Because if you can invest in the Louis bag, if you can invest in the brand new Jordans, you can certainly invest in a system that's going to get you to the next level. It's not just enough for those that are outside of Atlanta and places like that. We see the most per capita millionaires in places like Atlanta and Houston and all, because they're also talking about money. They're doing things differently. They're having different conversation. They're not just lamenting about the process. They're getting with brothers like Rodney and saying, Rod, I got an idea. I want to own a hotel, $8.3 million deal. Help me get to that point.
Yeah.
Or I just want to be able to increase trade lines on my business. So that I have some gap, because COVID showed me without a trade line, I'm kind of struggling a little bit as a minority business with lack of access to capital. These are all the things that Rodney can set up because he is a architect. Remember that word, financial services architect. You need someone to help you build that building of financial wealth. Rod, let me ask you, how'd you get started into this? Because I know a lot of individuals, they'll say, especially in our community, we don't necessarily have the examples that are sitting at the table, you know, pulling up the Wall Street Journal or the Financial Times, breaking down what's happening in the markets and how to move wealth and to go from check to check to a point of wealth.
Yeah.
What was your beginning, and who were some of the influencers or mentors that helped get you to this point?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. Well, I tell you what, it definitely wasn't a matter of growing up with a silver spoon. I mean, I grew up really, you know, middle class, single mother, and bless her heart, you know, certainly did the best she could with what she had. And you know, I'm really a product of the struggles of the average American, in the sense of you know, basically having two income households and still struggling with money, and unfortunately went through two divorces, two marriages, two divorces. And it was after that second marriage and divorce, if you will, that I said, man, you know, this thing, it keeps popping up. This money struggle, it keeps popping up regardless of who my partners are, right? It keeps popping up. And so I reduced my expenses after the second marriage, second divorce. And I said, man, I need to know what in the world are the 5% doing that 95% of the Americans that are dead broke and still working not doing. What is it that they're hiding from us that they didn't teach us in these schools? And so I basically began to go down that journey. Matter of fact, another piece of that turning point was I was in the mortgage industry, and we had the $8,000 tax credit in 2010. And I'm basically doing this like, oh yeah, I'm about to get it done.
Yes, sir.
Right? And out of 100 people, Malik, guess how many people I was able to help, man?
I'm gonna go with 7.
Man, it was less than 10, right? I was devastated. I couldn't believe it. Everybody would come into the table talking about, yeah, I'm ready. I'm like, look at your credit, jacked up. You ain't got no reserves, you know. You skipping around jobs, you know, he ain't got a regular place to stay. I said, this is crazy. but I didn't know where to send them because they had to come ready. They couldn't get ready. And I didn't know where to send them to even get ready. You follow that? And so that was the turning point. I was like, man, this is crazy that all of these people and that they're so unprepared, financially. And then I began to see that the businesses that we were creating, we were doing the mom and pop thing, but we weren't building businesses to scale and we weren't building them to last. And I said, man, this is crazy. So I began to go down the path and I began to read through 100 books on finance, business, and economics. You hear what I'm saying?
Wow.
I was serious, brother. It took 7 years. 7 years. Lord have mercy.
Wow.
And at the same time, guess what? God had me doing an exercise starting in 2012. I was supposed to be writing an article every single week.
Okay.
I did it for 5 years, brother.
Wow.
5 years. And I'm like, and when I started, I said, what in the world am I going to talk about every single week?
Yeah. Oh, don't I know it? Don't I know it? Yes, sir.
And but what was happening was that the information that I was reading, guess what? I was absorbing it, right? And by me having to regurgitate it, teach it, it became embodied. It became internal. Does that make sense?
Listen, brother, you just spoke my whole story. September 9th, 2015, opening that microphone up inside of a radio station. I had no idea what I was going to say for a whole hour.
Right.
I couldn't even imagine an individual wanting to listen to me. I wasn't sure that I wanted to listen to me for 60 minutes, right?
Right.
Years later, we're here and 2 hours isn't enough time to get out all of the nuggets that we see and are exposed to. So I understand it, brother, but you took the step. And I think that's so important. The key to turning the page was doing the work. You said 7 years,
man,
of reading books. This wasn't a COVID hit. So let me shift, get my hustle on, and now I'm gonna create an empire because I got my new website and I'm ready to take payments. No, 7 years of understanding and prep so that when you swung the bat, you knew exactly where to place that bat so that you could hit a home run, not just dribble it off the first.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now listen, check this out. So 7 years. So then it hits me at the top of 2018, right?
Okay.
And you asked me about one of my influences, of course, mentors out of the book, but then I have to give a special shout out to Dr. George C. Frazier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that brother is one of the baddest men on the planet. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So check this out. I had met him a few years prior, and so I called him. I said, "Hey, George." He said, "Hey, what's happening?" I said, "Listen, man, I'm writing a book." He said, "Okay." I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna have you on the cover of the book." He said, "I'm gonna be on the cover." I said, "Yeah." He said, "What am I gonna say on the cover?" I said, "You're gonna say this book is a game changer." He said, "That's what I'm gonna say." I said, "Yeah, George." He said, "Well, when I'm gonna read the book?" I said, "You're gonna get to read the book, George."
Yeah.
Said, okay. So this was basically March of 2018, right?
Yes, sir.
So listen, I never wrote a book. I ain't no editing, no publishing. I ain't know nothing about nothing. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even know what came over me. To this day, I'm like, I don't know who that was.
Right.
Because I declared that everything was going to be written, edited, published, and launched in 6 months.
Wow.
You hear me? So come June, basically the manuscript is done. I send it to George, Dr. Frazier. And so over that weekend, basically, we get back on the phone that Sunday night, and he's like, "Okay." He said, I read the book. I said, "Okay, George." He said, "Now I got to be honest."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, George." He said, "I must say, I was pleasantly surprised."
Beautiful.
I said, "Okay, George."
Yes, sir. So
he gave me some tips and so forth, and then he said, "You have my endorsement. It is as you say." Come on, man.
Here we go.
And so we launched the book literally September. It took 7 months, brother.
Wow.
I declared 6. It took 7. That mug was launched. Do you hear me? And so, and furthermore, I didn't have a dime I didn't know where the money was gonna come from.
Come on.
I ain't know where the money. Listen, But I didn't have to make one phone call, Malik. Man, listen, when it came time for the money, right? I promise you, I did not worry about it until it was time for the money. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Listen, I didn't make one phone call. The money was already at the table. I asked 3 people who were already at the table. I said, do you have it? Number 1, the person said, no, I don't have it.
Yep.
I went to number 2. I said, do you have it? The second person said, no, I don't have it. The third person said, wait a minute, I just got a business credit card in the mail for exactly what you're talking about. And we can roll. Man, come on, man.
Doc, listen, as I'm hearing your story, it's so interesting because I was on a flight and I had my laptop, didn't know why I was bringing my laptop to this flight. I didn't necessarily need it for this trip that I was going on. And God told me to open up the laptop and start typing. I'm like, what am I typing? What do you expect me to do? Mm-hmm. That whole trip, I spent nothing but time writing what turned into a book. Mm-hmm. Literally, at every moment of free time that I had, I went back to the room and started writing. Mm-hmm. Ironically, no money, just this manuscript and the idea. Same thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
I end up at Congressional Black Caucus weekend at the book fair on a panel with George Frazier and Marion Barry.
Man, come on, man.
I have no idea why I'm here. I'm like, what? I'm supposed to be carrying their bags. There ain't no reason for me to be sitting in this chair.
Right.
But brothers like George, to your point, willing to pour into you.
Yeah.
You know, the late Marion Barry, God rest his soul. He spent 3.5 hours with me, just pouring into me, talking to me about politics and life, and here's how to make a move.
Yeah.
To your point, just do it.
Man.
Listen to what God is putting in your spirit, and he starts unlocking the doors.
Man.
As you begin to be faithful, he unlocks the door, and then he shows you the next level. You know, that's not just for video games and PlayStation. That's for life. Yeah. That's for life, man. And so I'm excited that you were faithful enough to unlock these doors, brother, and bring all of this to pass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we're just now really walking out the greatest part. It was funny because, again, the preparation, the 7 years and so forth, by just being obedient to that, right?
Yeah.
Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
And so when it came to writing the book, it took 1 month exactly to write the whole book, right? Because it was already in me. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so in the book, Take Back Your Wealth, Moving from Lack to Abundance, basically the point of the book was to really prophesy. It was to begin to we're breaking down practical finances and things for family purposes. And we have a part in regards to again, practical application from a family perspective in terms of, families talking about it, walking it out. And then we have basically the instructional aspect of it, the enlightenment aspect of it on the other side of the book. So it's kind of a two-sided, type of book there. But inside of it is really this prophecy of moving masses of people through a process, a modern day exodus. To move the people from lack to abundance, from economic bondage to financial freedom. And so we take this on very seriously. We know that from a biblical standpoint, 400 years is up. Yeah. And truly, God is on the throne, and he is, preparing his people to take back what the enemy stole. Come on. And for us to walk in the purpose and walk in the promise of what he had declared so many years ago. And so we're saying, look, we got to get ready now. We got to get educated. We got to get empowered, because God does not waste resources. And that there is a wealth transfer that is happening right now. And so the people they got to know basically, what is that? How do I get myself in position for this transfer? Because it's already happening. And those who are the chosen, and those who are ready, those who are those who have been waiting, those who've been faithful, guess what? I'm talking to you, and all you got to do is respond. So that's it, brother. Come on.
Listen, so broadcast audience, understand, I know we got to go, but turning the page, that happens by being faithful to what God has charged you to do, being willing to do the work, restoring what the locust stole. You just heard that from Rodney. That happens because you're faithful to the process, being willing to do the work, all of that is inside this system. Family Wealth Inc. and Family Wealth Group, they're prepared and ready to take care of you and help get you to that wealth quadrant that you've been looking for. This isn't a quick fix. It's the right path, the right steps that get you there, that put you in the room and have you sit down comfortably on that couch, never to leave that room again. Fit Club, brothers, come on now, get in the Fit Club, get on board with Rodney Archer and the great work that they're doing. Rod, before we go, tell the broadcast audience again how to connect with you and lock in the Fit Club.
Yes, sir. Everyone, just go to www.familywealthfitclub.com. Check out our video, fill out the intake form there, and guess what? We'll take it over from there. We look forward to serving you, and we look forward to seeing you real soon.
There you go, my brother. Thank you. We truly appreciate you, man. We honor you. We love you for the great work that you're doing. It's brothers like you and leaders like you that make this space better for all of us. And so it's this level of leadership that's going to move the community to a brighter and better place, man. And so thank you for all that you do.
Thank you also, sir, for the steps that you've taken in this phenomenal broadcast and for giving us literally a voice to the community.
Thank you, brother. So we have heard from Rodney Archer. Make sure you check him out. Family Wealth Group, Family Wealth Inc. We'll post his links on our social media pages. I need all of you. Get involved. That brother in your life, cousin, uncle, grandpa, nephew, whatever. Get him to the Fit Club. Get him, please, into the Fit Club. It's going to be so important to make sure that we are financially fit to be able to handle what's ahead. Physically, we're always comfortable. We're always thinking about that. We're always trying to remove the cholesterol and eat light, and everybody's now on the keto diet, and we're doing these 30-day binges, and we're fasting, and we're doing the Daniel fast, and that's all great. But finances need a little help too. And all of us, including myself, I'm putting my hand, can use a reminder that excellence is every day. That is Fit Club and the great work of Brother Rodney Archer. This show has been absolutely amazing. I'm thankful to all of our guests who have shared with us today, and for you, the broadcast audience who joined us today. It's exciting to be back here on air with you. I'm excited for this year and what is ahead for all of us. We at HeartCity are excited to promote and support you. The only thing that we ask you to do the same. You can subscribe to us today. Become a part of the HeartCity family. You can receive updates, notifications, bonus content, and more. Just go to the YouTube page, click the button to subscribe, and then click the little bell, and you'll get notifications on how to get involved with the show, get notifications on our upcoming series and the great conversations that we have on our Friday night series. All of that is right there. Please, by all means, share this show with those you love. You can follow us on social media at HeartCity TV, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as always, feel beautiful, look beautiful, and act beautiful. Why? Because you truly are beautiful. I'll see you next week.